Hello and welcome to a special episode of the Freelancers Tea Break, the short sweet podcast you can enjoy while you're making a cuppa. My name is Emma Cossey and this is the last podcast episode of the year, and we're going to do something a little bit different. So if you don't know me, I'm Emma Cossey. I am a coach and mentor for freelancers, and I remember a long time ago, so I've been freelancing since 2009, so it was a very long time ago. In the corporate world, we used to have annual reviews. I hated them. Does anyone enjoy their annual review? And it's where you sit down with your manager and they assess your performance, talk about your goals, and maybe give you a rating out of 5. As freelancers, we don't have managers. We are the manager. So today, I'm going to conduct my own annual review. And because I apparently enjoy making myself really uncomfortable, I'm going to do this properly. So please imagine I am sitting in a slightly uncomfortable office chair with a sad pot plant in the corner. And I've got a printed document in front of me that says Annual Performance Review at the top. Let's begin. Right, Emma, thank you very much for joining me today for your annual performance review. Let's start with the basics. Thanks for having me. Yes, now let's review your performance across several key areas. Number 1, attendance and punctuality. Emma, I'm looking at your records and I can see you failed to work standard office hours for the entire year. Well, yes, because I work from home and I'm freelance, and I also note that you are frequently not at your desk during typical business hours. In fact, there were several instances of you working from the sofa. I was still working, just more comfortably. And yet, I also see that you did show up for every single client meeting. In fact, well, early for most of them, mainly because you set 17 alarms. Yeah, I have ADHD, so then the alarms are kind of essential. Which brings me to time management. You consistently underestimate and overestimate how long tasks will take. This will take 20 minutes, appears frequently in your notes, followed by either it took 2 minutes or it took 3 hours. Yeah, time blindness is real with ADHD. However, I will note that when you have used body doubling and Sansawa's estimated time for tasks, your productivity did vastly improve. So well done on finally accepting help. Thank you. Attendance rating could be worse. Let's move on. Now, let's look at the goals that you set in January of this year. Oh, God. You set 12 specific goals. You achieved 4.5 of them. 4.5's pretty good. It's 37.5%. But 40 of those goals I realised were actually terrible ideas. So I learned and I pivoted. Yes, pivoting. You did a lot of that this year, didn't you? It's called being adaptable. It's called changing your mind every 6 weeks. That's not okay. That's slightly fair. However, I will acknowledge that the goals you did achieve were significant. You did bring on lots of new coaching clients. You did launch new offerings like your emergency bundle. You did write your book. These are considerable accomplishments. Thank you. That means a lot. Don't get emotional. We're only on section 2. Let's talk about organization and systems. Emma, how many productivity systems did you try this year? And I think that's a fair question. I count 12 different approaches. Some of them were just tweaks to existing systems. You reorganized your Notion workplace 16 times. Well, I need to keep it interesting. And how many of those 12 systems are you still using? 2.5? 2.5. But those 2 are really working well, so it was worth it. I'll give you that. I noticed you now actually use your Notion instead of just setting it up and abandoning it. See? Character growth. I also note that on several occasions you spent an entire day organising your emails instead of actually replying to them. Procrastinating working is still working. Fair enough. Organisation rating, chaotic, but somehow functional. Right, so let's move on to communication. How would you assess your professional communication this year? I think it was good. I replied to all my client emails. I was professional. You spent one membership call doing a deep dive on what the Hallmark movie would be of two of the members. Well, it was good for morale. It was at the end of the call, in fairness. You also sent several emails where you forgot to attach the attachment. That's just human. I do have a plugin now that tells me if I say the word attach, that I have to attach something. You once started a Zoom call and couldn't work out why no one could hear you, only to realise you'd muted yourself before joining. Generous to say that was just the once. However, I will note that your actual communication with clients was excellent. You set clear boundaries, you managed expectations well, and you were honest when you needed to be. Several clients specifically mentioned how calm you are to work with. Really? Yes. You also got much better at saying no to clients from a people-pleasing angle, which really shows professional maturity. I have been working on that. It shows. Communication rating, professional, once you remember to unmute. Right, let's discuss focus and productivity. This is an interesting area for you. Here we go. You started 23 projects this year. I'm enthusiastic. You completed 8 of them. 8 very good ones, though. I also have notes here about hyperfocus. You discovered that hyperfocus exists, but primarily at 11 p.m. and usually for tasks that weren't urgent or particularly important. Well, the trouble is, hyperfocus doesn't really ask permission about when it's going to show up. You once spent 4 hours researching the perfect office chair when you were meant to be writing a newsletter. It is a really cool chair, though. The arms fold down so you can sit cross-legged, that you still haven't ordered. It's in my basket. However, in your favour, when you were focused and interested in something, your output was exceptional. Your creative problem-solving skills are generally outstanding. You see connections that others miss. You come up with ideas that are actually innovative, and you seem to be able to control your focus now that you understand you're interest-motivated and not importance-motivated. Thank you. That's productivity rating, inconsistent but occasionally brilliant, which, to be fair, is very on brand for you. Next, collaboration. As a solo freelancer, you technically work alone. Right, so this section doesn't really... However, you are part of several communities. The Facebook group, the Discord server that you launched this year, and networking groups. How would you assess your contributions there? Oh, I think I did well there. I showed up, I answered questions, I tried to help people at networking, I tried to welcome people as much as possible. You did. You were generous with your time and knowledge. You celebrated others' wins, you offered support where people were struggling. That's really, really important to me. And you got better at asking for help yourself rather than trying to do things alone. That one is an ongoing one that I'm really having to learn. Well, you're learning it. Collaboration rating, surprisingly good for someone who works alone. That brings us to financial and performance. So let's talk money. Did you hit your revenue targets this year? I came close. Define close. I hit about 80% of what I wanted to earn. Well, that's not too bad considering we have had a very difficult year this year. Yeah, so I don't feel awful about it. You also made some smart investments in your business this year. The coaching, the tools, the trading. I'm really trying to take it seriously. It shows financial performance rating, solid progress, room for growth. Let's talk about your strengths, because you do have them, even if you forget that sometimes. Yeah, I do forget that. Your creativity is great, even if you don't think of yourself as creative. You come up with ideas that are fresh and different. Your enthusiasm is infectious. People feel very energized after talking to you, and your ability to connect with your clients and community is really good. Oh, thank you. Your ADHD brain, despite the challenges it brings, also gives you some real benefits. You're brilliant in a crisis because you think fast. You can juggle multiple things at once when you need to. You're very empathetic, sometimes to a fault, and care about being inclusive. When you're passionate about something, your hyper-focus means that you can produce incredible work. I sometimes forget that. ADHD can make things harder, but it also makes you you. And that's actually one of your biggest strengths. Oh, I'm getting emotional. As I said, don't get emotional. We're in a professional setting. However, there are some areas for improvement. And we're back. You need to make more time for networking and probably getting outside more. But it's so warm and cozy inside. Yes, but you can't be in your comfort zone all the time. Fair. You also need to stop checking emails at 11 p.m. Nothing good comes from 11 p.m. emails. I'm mining for dopamine. Your inbox does not have any fun emails at 11 p.m. Rude. I mean, accurate, but rude. You need to get better at estimating your capacity. Overcommit because you're excited about everything. Okay, I am working on that. Work harder on it. And finally, can you get that damn book out there? Get it published. It's sitting there, just waiting. I know. Actually, really good advice. I am you, remember? I know what you need to hear. So, Emma, overall performance rating for this year. Oh, God, here it comes. I'm giving you a 4 out of 5. Wait, really? Really? You showed up, you grew, you learned, you kept going even when it was hard. You did give up on freelancing even though there were tiny moments where it was slightly tempting. You helped your clients, you supported your community, you were brave in ways that people don't see. Oh, I don't know what to say. Say thank you and then go and have a proper break over Christmas. Thank you for the rating and for the advice. You're welcome. Now, please sign here to confirm you've received this review and... Wait, do I get a raise? You're self-employed. You can give yourself a raise whenever you want. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Classic ADHD move there. Hope you enjoyed that. It was very silly. I thought I'd end on the year how I pretty much run through the year, which is making things a bit more silly and a bit more fun. It's very uncomfortable, but it's actually really good to be able to reflect on things that way. I don't miss those annual reviews at all, but I think it's really good to be able to do it for ourselves. So if you're thinking about doing anything else for yourself, like an annual review, have to think about what did you achieve, what did you grow, what do you want to focus on next year. But just be kind to yourself. Don't focus on all the bad things. Have a think about some of the good ones. If you haven't looked at the episode before this one, I talked about some of the wins that you might want to think about. So thank you very much for joining me. And thank you for joining me all. I will have new episodes in the new year. I've got some guests coming up as well. But if you have anything you would like to hear about in the new year, do let me know. Otherwise, you can come join me in the Facebook group or the Discord group or on Instagram. And I hope you manage to have a little break over the next month and have a wonderful freelance end of year.